Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we will discuss about directory server connection using certificate on SSL port. Prerequisite for this video, you should aware of directory server connection on non-SSL port. Video link given in description. In case you are not aware of, just visit that video. Same code will help you to make SSL connection on any directory server or LDAP server or even Active Directory. Now, without further ado, let's start. But before we start, please subscribe the channel and click on bell button so that you will get regular updates. Also make sure to like and share the video. Now, uh, before we start coding on Java, in order to connect to directory server on SSL port, we need to understand a few things about certificate. When you are saying certificate, then there could be three cases with that certificate. You might have been this certificate from some certificate authority, that is global certificate authority, or you might be having that certificate from some of the local certificate authority, or it might be self-signed certificate. So there would be three cases. Now, when it is from global certificate authority, then it might be from Interest, Verishine, GoDaddy, Google, or someone else. Similarly, uh, many organization has their own local certificate authority set up. In that case, you will get certificate. Most of the For most of your services, you are getting your certificate from the internal local cert authority. And the final one is self-signed certificate. So in this particular video, we will talk about certificate. Actually, the one which I'm using is self-signed certificate. Okay. So this is all about uh, different types of certificates. So when you want to get certificate from any of the certificate authority, global or local, in that case you need to raise CSR, certificate signing request, and in return you will get final finally a signed certificate from your certificate authority. Okay. So before I'll go to this, let's go to my screen and see the certificate which I am having. Okay, the certificate which I'm having is so this is my root certificate and this is my actual server certificate which I'm using in my directory server. This server certificate is signed by this root certificate. Okay, so if you will see my server certificate, so you can see this is here. If you will go here and if you will see, it is issued by read.com, which is the root certificate, and it is issued to im.read.com, which is my server certificate. Again, this is the certificate chain we can say. Okay, now let's say if some client wants to connect to this server im.read.com, it doesn't need to have server certificate. It can make use of root certificate in order to do the connectivity. Okay, so but again, there might be some challenges for some of the directory server where you need not to only import the root certificate but also the actual server certificate. So it totally depends how the directory server has been configured. So first thing what you can do when you are making a LDAP connection over SSL, first you will import the root certificate into your certificate store, and if that doesn't work, then you will import even the server certificate also. Okay, so here now, how you can import the certificate? So in my case, I have to import this root cs.crt into the certificate store. Now you have two options to import the certificate. One is you can import the certificate into your Java certificate store. That is, if you will go to your Java home, JRE Live Security CS certs, that would be your certificate store where all other global certificate, root certificate also exist like VeriSign, uh, VeriShine, Interest, mm, GoDaddy. all those root certificate will also exist there. If you want, you can import this root CA, what we are going to use here, into the same Java CA cert. If not, then you can have a dedicated certificate store which you will use into your code. So I would say go with this option where you will create your own dedicated certificate store, and the command is very easy to use. That is, you have to use key tool command of your JDK package, like Java Home bin key tool import CA is used to import the certificate, and trust CA means it is trusting those certificate which has been given into your certificate store. And hyphen file, this is the path of your certificate, actual physical path. So I will execute from this path. So I have given simply root ca.cert. If you are executing from somewhere else, then you will give the complete absolute path hyphen alias, the alias name of your certificate, and this would be your key stored name. So here I have given the complete path. So here I have created. So this would be the certificate store and a store password. So this will be the certificate store password and a store type. So this password can be anything, because same password you have to use in the code when you will make use of this certificate store. And hyphen store type, what is the type of your certificate store? So you have different type of certificate store that you can make use of, like JKS, PKCS12 and all other. We are making use of PKCS12. So here I have given a store type PKCS12, and by the end you will get this certificate store. Yep. So this command, what it will do is it will import the certificate root ca.cert into your CA certs of Java. Okay, so CA certs already exist. It will not create any new one. However, this command is going to create a new certificate store, that is cacerts.p12 onto this location. Okay, and the store type will be pkcs12. Okay, now what, so this will be your first change where you have to import certificate, which you will get from, whoever is the directory server team. You have to get certificate from their end, and then you have to import into your trust store. Now, what other change that you have to do is from here. There are normally three changes you have to do in coding. One is in your system, you have to set in your system variable, you have to set trust store path, and then you have to give trust store password also. Okay, now in your actually when you are creating directory server connection means context, then you have to give security protocol. So in context you have to use hash tables. Basically this environment is nothing but it's a hash table. So this one of the parameter into the hash table is context of security protocol, that should be SSL. Okay, so only these three changes that you have to do. Other than means add on whatever is required for non-SSL connection. Along with that, you need these three changes. So now let's go to Eclipse. So here this LDAP SSL is a project. Now this is a class where we have method get context and close context. So if you will see, then there are three property into this class. One is logger, one is context, and another is environment. So basically your context, when you will create a context object, so basically in LDAP or directory server terms, we call connection as context. So whenever you create a context, you need hash table, and that's what we call here environment. In your environment, you have to set different key value, and finally you will use those environment in order to get the connection object. So here, as I told, there would be two system parameter that you have to set. One is trust store path, and another is trust store password. So by using this, so basically in my case, my trust store is located at this place, so I have given this path. However, in your case, you will give whatever path defined for your certificate store, and this will be your password. So in my case also the password is change it. I can I can use password anything. However, right now I'm using change it. So because change it is the default password of Java CSRs. That's why when I have created my own dedicated certificate store, then also I'm using change it only. However, I can use anything, and that's what I have to use here. So since I have given change it, so I'm using it change it. Now these are, like these are the parameter which you need even for non-SSL connection. So here one thing that you have to make sure is, here you can see in non-SSL you will call by using LDAP, but here you are making a call by using LDAP S and LDAP S, and then there would be your server. Again, this would be based upon the subject name of your certificate. So if you will see, go here and see, then you can see is, if you will go to my certificate, then you can see this is the subject name, correct? CN. So I am read.com. If I'll go with, let's say I'll go with ds.read.com or xyg.read.com, which is mapped to the IP of this host, that is not going to work. It will give me exception. It will give me error. Whenever client is making a call, then subject name should match with the certificate subject name. Another option would be subject alternative name, where you will have more than one subject. If let's say you want to, so you have one IP of your directory server, but you want to allow multiple VIP or multiple subject by which client can connect to you, then in that case what you can do is you can make use of subject alternative name, which is a option in certificate generation. Okay, so in that case, if I'll make use of abc.read.com and that is mapped to the IP address of im.read.com, then that would also work if abc.read.com is part of subject alternative name. Okay, so this is very important. im.read.com, this is the subject of the certificate. Either this should be present in subject CN or subject alternative name, that you have to make sure. And this is the SSL port. Basically, LDAP server listen on non-SSL and SSL port. So you have to make sure what is the SSL port of your directory server. On that port, you have to make the connectivity. Okay, and LDAP is also needed. All other would be same as non-SSL. This is factor. This is security authentication, simple security principle. Which user DN you will use for authentication? Security credential. What is the password of your principal? And here you have uh, security protocol. What is the protocol? If let's say you don't want to use SSL, simply comment it, you will go for non-SSL. But in that case, again, you have to remove this LDAP and use, you have to use LDAP only and use non-SSL port. Since we are using SSL, so here I am using this security protocol. Okay, and then I will create new initial LDAP context by using the environment. Okay, and we will get the context object. Okay, done. Once we have, let's say someone calls this method, then this method is going to return a new connection object. Once client is done with using of connection object, they have to close the connection by using this method. Okay, this is again, it is a good practice, but not the mandatory means. If you are not closing the connection, it is not going to give any error. But this is the best practice. Otherwise, what will happen is it will be a problem to the server where you are creating the connection, but you are never closing it. So when you are creating a connection, always make sure to close the connection. Now here you can see this is one of the object. By using the object get context object, I am calling get context to get the context initial LDAP context object. If context is not null, then I am doing a search on the base this and I'm just trying to get the DN. Okay, so under this, whatever user will have UID is equal to A Kumar will get all those users DN. So I just have to execute it and I got this. So my connectivity works fine. Okay, hope you guys are clear about how to create a SSL connection. As I said, there are only three things that you have to take care in the coding along with your certificate store. So in total, we can say there are four things that we have to make sure in order to make connectivity to LDAP on SSL, LDAP or directory server on SSL, even Active Directory. So guys, whatever details I have gone through in this video, all this detail is there in the description. Please subscribe to the channel and also share and like the video.